The training chamber of the Galactic Academy was not built for comfort. It was a silver dome buried under layers of alien metal and humming energy lines. Every wall was alive with blue light that moved like flowing veins. The air always smelled of metal and fear. Inside, 60 cadets sat in a perfect circle. Their eyes glowed in different colors, and green, gold, red, and depending on their species. They were young warriors chosen from many worlds to become soldiers of the United Alliance. Every one of them had claws, horns, or armored skin. Everyone and except one. In the middle sat Eli Grant, the only human in the academy. He was 20 years old, brown-haired, clean-skinned, and smaller than everyone else. His uniform looked too loose, his boots too light. Yet his calm face annoyed many of his classmates. They wanted to see him break, to prove that humans were weak and soft. The air buzzed when Instructor Varric entered. He was twice Eli's height, a reptilian warrior with black scales and sharp yellow eyes. His tail dragged behind him, leaving marks on the metal floor. "Cadets," his voice boomed. "Today is Fear Day. You will learn not from books, but from blood and instinct." All cadets straightened in silence. Eli only blinked once. Varric's assistant, a thin insectoid named Thrix, pressed a switch. The floor panels at the center of the chamber opened. A low growl echoed. From the darkness below, 3 predator cubs crawled out, their fur black and shining under the blue lights, their eyes red like burning coal. Even though they were cubs, they were already larger than wolves. Their tails had small bone spikes that clinked when they moved. The aliens in the room gasped quietly. Everyone knew what those creatures were, Corvian raptors, one of the deadliest beasts bred for war. The rule was simple. Survive 5 minutes inside the chamber. The cubs had been trained to attack anyone who moved, breathed, or showed fear. Instructor Varric looked around the circle. His eyes cold. One volunteer, no one moved. No one wanted to be the first. The last cadet who faced a predator on Fear Day had lost an arm. Eli stood up. The other cadets stared in disbelief. "You?" A tall horned alien hissed. "You want to die, human?" Eli shrugged softly. "Someone has to go first." Varric's eyes narrowed. He didn't stop him. He wanted to see what this small creature from Earth could do. Eli walked to the center of the chamber. The floor closed behind him with a metallic hiss. The cubs turned toward him, their bodies low, teeth showing. The sound of their growls filled the dome like thunder. The human didn't take a fighting stance. He simply crouched on one knee and looked at them, not like enemies but like lost children. "Hey there," he said quietly. The other cadets whispered among themselves. "He's not even holding a weapon. He'll be eaten alive." The cubs circled him. Their tails twitched. One of them jumped forward, claws flashing, but stopped mid-air. It landed a few feet away and sniffed. Eli didn't move. Slowly, he extended his hand. The cub sniffed again, then growled softly but not angrily. Its ears lowered. The second cub came closer, tilting its head. The third one let out a high-pitched sound that almost sounded like a question. Eli spoke again, his tone calm, soft, steady, the kind of voice that said, "You're safe here. It's okay. I know you're scared too." The cub's breathing slowed. Its tail lowered. Then one by one they moved closer, pressing their heads against Eli's legs. The watching cadets froze. Even the instructors stopped breathing. The beasts didn't attack. They curled up. Within seconds, all 3 predator cubs were sleeping on the human's lap. No one in the Galactic Academy had ever seen anything like it. Varric's eyes flickered in disbelief. "What did you do?" Eli looked up. "I did nothing," he said softly. "They just wanted kindness." The silence that followed felt heavy. Even the humming walls seemed to quiet down. Later that day, rumors ran through the dorm halls like wildfire. "Did you see it? The human touched a Corvian raptor. They didn't kill him. They slept beside him. That's impossible. They smell fear. They should have ripped him apart." In the instructor's quarters, Varric replayed the chamber footage again and again. He zoomed in on Eli's face, calm. No fear, no aggression. The cubs reacted as if he were their pack leader. Thrix, the assistant, clicked his mandibles. "Maybe a trick of pheromones?" Varric shook his head. "No, I felt it in the room. Something old was there." "Old?" Varric turned toward the window, where the jungle outside the dome glowed faint green under 2 moons. "Humans," he said slowly, "come from a predator world. Maybe something in him calls to them." That night, Eli sat alone in the cadet quarters. He looked out the window at the alien jungle. The cubs had been taken away, but he could still hear their soft growls echoing in his head. He didn't know why he could calm them. He had felt something, like a pulse deep inside his chest. A strange connection. For a moment, when he touched the cub's head, he could feel its heartbeat as if it was his own. He thought of his father, who used to tell him, "Real strength isn't in how hard you hit, Eli, it's in how gently you hold." Eli smiled at the memory, but his peace didn't last long. The door slid open, a shadow filled the doorway. It was Ro, one of the strongest cadets, a giant insectoid with 4 arms. "You made us look weak today," Ro hissed. Instructor Varric said no fear. "You made beasts sleep," Eli frowned. "I didn't mean to embarrass anyone." Ro's upper arm slammed into the wall beside Eli's head. "You're not one of us, human. You're a toy they put here to see how fast you break." Eli looked straight into his compound eyes. "Maybe, but maybe they'll learn something new before I do." Ro's jaw clicked. He stepped back slowly, confused. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Calm, not afraid, not angry. Hours later, while the rest of the academy slept, Instructor Varric walked alone to the lower laboratories. The air smelled of chemicals and old memories. In a glass pod lay one of the Corvian cubs. It was asleep, its chest rising and falling slowly. Beside it, the monitors showed strange brain waves, 2 heartbeats overlapping. One belonged to the cub. The other matched the human's rhythm. Varric clenched his jaw. "So it's real." Thrix looked uneasy. "Should we inform the High Council?" "Not yet. They fear what they don't understand. And this..." Varric looked at the screen again. "This could change everything." The next morning, Eli entered the main hall for breakfast. Every eye turned toward him, some full of fear, some with respect, others with jealousy. A group of cadets whispered loudly as he passed, "Monster tamer. Beast whisperer. Lucky accident." Eli ignored them and sat at a corner table. The food was strange, blue paste and steaming roots, but he ate quietly. Then a shadow fell over his tray. It was Instructor Varric. "Cadet Grant," he said. "Come with me." The hall went silent again. Eli followed Varric through metal corridors into the same training chamber from yesterday. The floor was spotless, but the smell of the cubs still lingered. Varric stopped in the center. "Do you know what you did?" Eli shrugged. "I made them feel safe." "You controlled them," Varric said firmly. "They obeyed your will. I didn't order them. I just connected." Varric stared into his eyes. That connection could be power. Or danger, Eli frowned. "Are you afraid of me, Instructor?" Varric's tail lashed once. "I fear nothing. But the galaxy does not like what it cannot explain. If they think you are a weapon, they will use you. If they think you are a threat, they will destroy you." Eli looked down at the metal floor. "Then I'll have to show them I'm neither." For a moment, Varric's hard expression softened. He almost looked proud. Then the alarm blared. A red light flooded the chamber. Thrix's voice came through the speakers. "Warning. Containment breach in Sector Delta. Predators loose in the outer jungle." Varric's eyes widened. "Those were full-grown Corvian raptors," he muttered. He looked at Eli. "Stay here." But Eli shook his head. "They'll kill anyone they find." "I can help," Varric turned sharply. "This is not your fight, cadet." Eli took a step forward. "It became my fight the moment they listened to me." Minutes later, outside the Silver Dome, the alien jungle roared to life. Trees taller than skyscrapers shook as something massive moved among them. The night was alive with growls and flashes of red eyes. Eli stood at the edge of the jungle with his training suit on. Unarmed, his breath steady. Behind him, the other cadets watched in disbelief. "What is he doing?" one whispered. "He's going to die." Eli didn't look back. He whispered under his breath, the same calm tone he used before. "It's okay. I'm here." From deep inside the forest, a familiar sound answered. The same soft growl from the cubs. Varric, standing on the balcony, clenched his fists. "He's calling them," he murmured. And as the jungle trembled, shapes began to move through the mist, tall, fast, and deadly. The predators had returned, but not to attack. They came to listen. And high above, the twin moons reflected in their eyes, and in the human's calm gaze, as if the universe itself was watching. waiting to see what would happen next. The alarm still echoed across the Galactic Academy when dawn arrived. Outside the dome, the alien jungle shimmered under the light of two suns. Mist crawled between the giant roots and strange bird-like creatures screamed from the treetops. The place looked alive, breathing, watching. Every cadet had been ordered to the assembly yard. The air was thick with fear. Instructor Varric stood tall on the command platform, his black scales reflecting morning light. Behind him, massive holoscreens showed moving dots, red signals, creatures running wild through the jungle perimeter. Sector Delta has fallen, he growled. 3 Corvian adults have escaped. They're heading toward the Academy's border fence, the cadets murmured nervously. These are not cubs, Varric continued. They are full predators, strong enough to tear metal. We will move in teams of 3 to recapture or terminate them before they reach the colony zone. His gaze fell on Eli. Cadet Grant, you are to stay behind. The crowd sighed in relief. Some smiled mockingly, but Eli stepped forward. Sir, I can help. You know they respond to me. Varric's tail flicked. That is exactly why you will not go. We don't know why they respond to you. Until we do, you are a variable I cannot control. Eli clenched his jaw but said nothing. Hours later, he sat alone in the observation deck, watching teams disappear into the jungle. Drones hovered above them, projecting blue tracking lights. He saw fear in every movement. Aliens bred for war, now trembling at the thought of hunting something stronger than themselves. Eli turned to the glass. His reflection looked small compared to the trees outside. He whispered, If they die, it's my fault. They listened to me first. He could still feel that strange pulse inside him, like a second heartbeat. Every time he thought of the cubs, it grew louder. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. The door opened behind him. It was Thrix, the insectoid assistant. His wings twitched nervously. You disobeyed no order, Thrix said, but Instructor Varric is not the only one watching. The Council received the recording of Fear Day. They will come soon. They will want to test you. Eli turned confused. Test me how? By force, Thrix said simply. And when they find something they fear, they remove it. Eli looked back at the jungle. Then I guess I better make myself useful before they decide that. Before Thrix could stop him, Eli grabbed his training suit and ran toward the launch bay. The jungle swallowed him whole. There were no paths, only thick vines, glowing roots and the deep call of unseen beasts. His visor showed faint red dots ahead, team signals. One of them blinked rapidly, then vanished. He quickened his pace. When he reached the clearing, 2 cadets lay unconscious near a broken drone. The trees around them were shredded like paper. Massive claw marks cut deep into the trunks. He heard breathing, low, rhythmic, heavy. Through the mist, a Corvian adult appeared. Twice as tall as a man, its muscles glowed faintly under the skin. Its eyes burned like molten gold. It sniffed the air, then turned directly toward Eli. The moment stretched. Eli slowly lowered his weapon. He could feel its heartbeat echoing inside him, fast, angry, afraid. Not pure rage, but confusion. He took one step closer. You remember me, he said softly. From the cubs, the creature growled. Its tail slammed the ground, sending dirt flying. But it didn't leap. Eli held his ground. It's okay, he whispered. You're not alone. For a second, nothing moved. Then, like a ripple through the mist, the Corvian lowered its head. The alien trees went silent. Eli exhaled slowly, relief mixing with wonder. He took another step, placing his palm on its snout. The skin was hot, trembling, but under his touch the tremor calmed, and then a memory flashed through his mind. Not his own. He saw darkness, cages, pain. He saw the cubs being taken, needles, lights, fear. He saw humans, scientists, experimenting on them years ago. He gasped and staggered back. The Corvian's eyes flickered as if it understood. What did they do to you? Eli whispered. Before he could say more, a plasma shot burned past his ear and hit the creature's side. It roared in pain. 3 cadets burst through the bushes, weapons raised. Target in sight, one shouted. Open fire. Stop, Eli yelled. You'll make it worse. They didn't listen. More plasma bolts flashed. The Corvian lunged, slamming one cadet aside like a doll. Eli ran forward, standing between them. Stop, it's not attacking, it's scared. The creature roared again, but its eyes flickered between fury and confusion. Eli pressed his hand to its chest. It's okay. Listen to me. Something deep inside him broke open, a sound, low, pulsing, rolled through the clearing. The jungle wind froze. Even the cadets dropped their weapons, paralyzed by the strange vibration in the air. The Corvian's breathing slowed. It knelt. Varric, watching through drone feed miles away, stood from his console. By the stars, he's commanding it. Within minutes, Instructor Varric and a squad arrived on site. The cadets stood in shock, staring at the massive creature lying peacefully beside the human. Eli turned as Varric approached. It's done. It won't hurt anyone. Varric's face was unreadable. What did you see? Eli hesitated. Their memories. They were tested on by humans decades ago. Someone used them to make weapons. Varric frowned. Humans? That's impossible. Your species didn't join the Alliance until 30 years ago. Maybe it happened before the Alliance existed, Eli said quietly. Maybe someone didn't want anyone to know. Varric looked toward the jungle. And the creature trusts you because of that pain. You share the same wound, Eli nodded slowly. They don't want to kill. They just want to go home. Varric exhaled through his teeth. Home is gone. Their world burned during the expansion wars. There is nowhere left. Then maybe I can give them peace, Eli said. They walked back together, the creature following silently like a shadow. When they reached the academy perimeter, dozens of soldiers aimed their rifles. Stand down, Varric ordered. No one moved. The Corvian hissed lowly, sensing threat. Eli raised a hand. It's okay. The soldiers hesitated but lowered their weapons slowly. Varric signaled the guards. Open containment gate 3. The creature was guided inside. As the door sealed, it looked at Eli one last time, then vanished behind layers of energy barriers. Varric turned. You've done what no one else could. But now you've made enemies. Eli frowned. Enemies? The Council will not like that a human can control predators. They fear what they cannot command. That evening, the Council ship arrived, sleek, golden, and silent. Its emblem glowed like fire. Eli stood in the interrogation chamber, hands on the cold table. Across from him sat 3 figures in white armor, the Council envoys. The leader's voice was smooth but sharp. Cadet Eli Grant, you have demonstrated an ability that violates interspecies control laws. Explain yourself. I don't control them, Eli said quietly. I just understand them. Define understand. I feel what they feel. The envoy's mask tilted slightly. You claim empathy is a weapon. It's not a weapon. Then why do they obey you? Eli looked up. Because I don't ask them to. Silence. The envoys exchanged glances. Your kind has always been unpredictable, emotional, dangerous. The Academy is not a sanctuary, it is a forge. If you cannot be shaped, you will be broken. Eli stayed calm. Then you'll learn something new about humanity today. The envoy's mask glowed faintly. We will. He pressed a button. The wall behind Eli turned transparent, revealing a massive arena, dark, circular, surrounded by blue energy. Inside, shadows moved. Your final test begins now, the envoy said. We have released the remaining 2 Corvians. If they recognize you as leader, you live. If not, the Academy returns to order. The floor opened beneath Eli's feet. He fell into darkness. The impact knocked the air from his lungs. He rolled to his knees, dust rising around him. The arena lights flared, revealing 2 massive silhouettes. The Corvian adults growled, teeth bared, circling him. Their eyes glowed gold in the dim light. Eli stood, arms at his sides. His voice trembled, but only slightly. You don't have to fight. I'm not your enemy. They didn't stop. One lunged forward, claws flashing. Eli dodged barely in time. The second slammed the ground, shaking the floor. Pain shot through his leg. He dropped to one knee. Please, he whispered. Listen to me. The sound of his own heartbeat roared in his ears, and suddenly the world slowed. He felt their anger, their fear, their loneliness. It wasn't hatred. It was grief. He saw flashes again, this time clearer. Scientists in white suits, the smell of burning fur, the cubs crying for their mothers, and the last face they saw before the darkness, a human's face. Tears burned Eli's eyes. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't know. But I'm here now. He pressed his hand against the floor, sending out the same deep pulse as before, a soundless wave of empathy. The predators froze mid-step. Their breathing slowed. One tilted its head. The other let out a low, mournful rumble. Then, slowly, they knelt. The watching council above whispered in shock. The lead envoy stood. Impossible. Varric, standing beside them, whispered under his breath, "He's not just human anymore." The arena lights dimmed. Eli stood between the two beasts, both calm beside him. He felt their warmth, their trust, their forgiveness. He looked up toward the glass chamber above. "You see?" he said. "They only needed someone to listen." The lead envoy's voice echoed coldly. "And if they ever turn on us?" Eli met his gaze. "Then maybe we deserve it." The chamber went silent. Even the predators seemed to sense the tension. Finally, the envoy raised a hand. "You are to be isolated for further study." The sound of the Corvians' roar still echoed through the domed arena, long after the council envoys had silenced the alarms. The glass walls trembled, the energy shields flickered, and in the center, Eli Grant stood alone between the two great predators. His hands still open, his face calm, his eyes reflecting the blue glow of the arena lights. No one moved for a long time. The cadets watching from the observation decks couldn't believe what they had seen. A human, small, fragile, ordinary, had tamed the most feared creatures in the galaxy. Not with power, not with violence, but with understanding. Finally, the lead envoy spoke, his voice calm but cold. "End the experiment." The guards moved forward with plasma rifles raised. The predator's eyes narrowed. The sound of growling filled the chamber again. Eli turned sharply. "No." The guards hesitated, unsure. He looked back at the Corvians. "It's over," he whispered. "They don't know any better." The beasts blinked slowly, their rage fading under his voice. The air felt heavy with tension, like a storm about to break. Varric, who had been silent all this time, finally stepped forward. "Enough," he said. "He passed your test. He earned your respect." The lead envoy turned his glowing mask toward Varric. "Respect is not what the council grants to anomalies," Varric growled. "He's not an anomaly. He's proof of what we forgot." The envoy tilted his head. "And what is that?" "That compassion can be stronger than command." The envoy paused for a moment, then waved his hand. "Remove the beasts, and isolate the human." The floor beneath Eli opened again. A bright energy field wrapped around him. He felt the pull of gravity shift as he was dragged downward into darkness. When he woke, the world was gray. He lay on a bed of cold metal in a small room with no windows. Only a single white light glowed above him. His wrists were bound by energy cuffs that pulsed faint blue. A voice echoed through the speakers. "Eli Grant, you are now under observation for potential biological resonance with non-human entities." To not resist, Eli sat up slowly. His muscles ached, but his mind was clear. "Where are the Corvians?" he asked. The voice didn't answer. He exhaled. "You can cage me," he murmured. "But you can't cage what's already awake." Somewhere deep below the facility, in the containment levels, the Corvians stirred. Their eyes opened in the dark, two golden lights burning like suns. They could feel him. His heartbeat echoed through the walls, through the metal, through every vibration of the planet itself. Hours passed. Days, maybe. Time lost meaning. Sometimes Varric visited. Sometimes Thrix brought food. Once Varric stood silently near the glass door of Eli's cell. "You shouldn't have done this," he said quietly. "The council will dissect what they can't understand." Eli smiled faintly. "Then maybe it's time they stop pretending to understand everything." Varric's eyes softened. "You changed something here. Not just the beasts. The cadets, too. They talk about you like a legend already." "Legends don't matter if no one learns from them," Eli said. The instructor turned to leave, but paused. "The council ship leaves in 2 nights. They plan to take you to the core station for full study." Eli's jaw tightened. "They'll kill me." "Maybe not, maybe yes," Eli replied softly. "But either way, they won't kill what's growing." Varric frowned. "What do you mean?" Eli closed his eyes. "Listen." A faint vibration passed through the floor. Not from machines, but from something alive. It grew stronger. Varric looked down. "The predators." Eli nodded. "They're not asleep anymore." That night, alarms began again, but this time they were deeper, long, low, and urgent. Containment breach. Sector E17. The guards ran through the corridors shouting commands. Energy fields sparked. Walls shook. In the observation chamber, the council envoys watched the security feeds. The Corvians were no longer in their cells. The doors had melted outward as if something had pulled the energy apart from within. "They're coming this way," Thrick stammered. Varric's heart pounded. "They're not hunting. They're searching." Searching for what? Varric looked toward the cell block monitors. For him, Eli sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, breathing slow. The vibrations had become clear now, each one like a heartbeat in the walls. Then he heard it, the soft scrape of claws, the hiss of vents breaking, the low rumble of creatures moving in silence. A shadow appeared beyond the glass door. Golden eyes, the Corvians. The locks glowed red, then flickered out. The door hissed open. The largest of the beasts stepped inside, lowering its head. Eli stood, placing a hand on its snout. "You came back," he whispered. The creature rumbled softly, a sound almost like comfort. Eli looked around. "We can't fight them, not all of them. But maybe we can show them." He turned to the door. "Let's end this the right way." By the time they reached the upper deck, chaos had spread. Soldiers fired stun rounds, drones flew overhead, alarms screamed. But wherever the Corvians passed, they didn't attack. They moved with purpose, surrounding Eli, shielding him. The cadets watching from the balconies froze. Some lowered their weapons. Others whispered in disbelief. "Look, they're protecting him. He's not controlling them. They're guarding him." Varric arrived at the main platform just as the council envoys activated emergency lockdown. Energy barriers rose across the hall. The lead envoy's voice thundered, "Contain the human or terminate him." Eli stepped forward, unafraid. The Corvians spread out beside him like living walls. "You can't kill what you never understood," Eli said. The envoy raised his hand. "You are a threat to the balance of the Alliance." Eli's voice stayed calm. "No, I'm the reminder of it." The envoy frowned. "Explain yourself." Eli pointed at the creatures. "You created them. Then you called them monsters when they fought to survive. You built laws to separate emotion from power, fear from understanding. But the galaxy isn't held together by fear, it's held by connection. You forgot that." The chamber shook. The Corvians roared, not in anger, but in agreement. The lights flickered. Every energy field began to pulse with the same rhythm, Eli's heartbeat. The envoys looked around, alarmed. "He's affecting the systems." Varric shouted over the noise. "No, it's not him. It's them. They're syncing with the Academy's core." The Corvians' eyes glowed brighter, linking through invisible waves of energy. The entire facility hummed like a living organism. Eli closed his eyes. "Let them see." And then everyone saw. The walls lit up, projecting memories. Images of what the Corvians had suffered. Experiments, pain, fire, extinction. Not from them, but through them. Every cadet, every instructor, every envoy felt it in their minds. The room fell silent. Even the machines stopped humming. When the visions faded, Eli opened his eyes again. "Now you understand what you created." The lead envoy's voice shook slightly. "And what now, human? You would have us bow to beasts?" Eli shook his head. "No, I'd have you learn from them." He stepped closer. "They don't want war. They want a place to belong, just like us." The envoy stared for a long moment, then lowered his hand. "You are dangerous, Grant, but perhaps not in the way I thought." The following day, the Galactic Academy stood in silence. The council had left, without arresting Eli, without taking the Corvians. No one knew what deal Varric had made, but rumors spread quickly. Some said the human had used forbidden telepathy. Others said he was the first of a new kind, a bridge between predator and prey. Eli didn't care about rumors. He stood on the outer balcony looking over the jungle. The twin suns rose slowly, painting the sky gold. The Corvians rested below the cliffs, their forms peaceful in the light. Thrix joined him. "So, what happens now?" Eli smiled faintly. "Now we start over, together. Do you think the galaxy will ever accept them?" Eli's eyes softened. "Someday. Because stories spread faster than fear." Varric approached from behind, his voice low. "The council will watch you. They will never stop fearing what they cannot own." Eli turned toward him. "Then they'll have to learn to coexist just like we did." Varric looked at him with something close to pride. "You've done what soldiers, scientists, and leaders couldn't do for centuries. You made predators choose peace," Eli chuckled softly. "Maybe it's not peace yet. Maybe it's just the start." Varric nodded. "Then let's protect it. The instructor extended his scaled hand. Eli shook it. That night when the academy slept, Eli returned once more to the training chamber, the same place where it all began. The air still smelled faintly of metal and memory. He sat on the same cold floor where the cubs had first curled up in his lap. The chamber lights dimmed. For a long time there was silence. Then a small shape padded into the room, a Corvian cub, one of the same 3 from that first test. It walked up to him, tail flicking gently, and lay beside him. Eli smiled and whispered, "Guess we both passed our lessons, huh?" The cub's golden eyes blinked slowly, reflecting the soft blue glow. Outside, the stars stretched endless across the sky. Somewhere beyond them, the council whispered of the human bond, the event that defied all science. Some feared it, others called it hope. But inside that quiet room, surrounded by life that once knew only violence, a human and a beast simply rested side by side, breathing in rhythm, and for the first time in centuries the galaxy felt peaceful.